Hey, it's Matson. Oh no, he realized that when he walked into his classroom, someone switched out his American flag for this weird one. How does his eye process this image?
First, let's learn some anatomy of the eye.
The sclera is the white outer wall of the eye. It is a tough, fibrous tissue that extends from the cornea to the optic nerve at the back of the eye. The sclera gives the eye its white color. The retina is a light-sensitive layer of tissue at the back of the inner eye. It acts like the film in a camera. Images come through the eye's lens and are focused on the retina. The retina then converts these images to electric signals and sends them via the optic nerve to the brain. The conjunctiva is a thin membrane that covers the inner surface of the eyelid and the white part of the eyeball. The cornea is the eye's outermost layer. It is a clear dome-shaped surface that covers the front of the eye. Although the cornea is clear and seems to lack substance, it is actually a highly organized group of cells and proteins. Unlike most tissues in the body, the cornea contains no blood vessels to nourish or protect itself against infection. Instead, the cornea receives its nourishment from the tears and aqueous humor that fills the chamber behind it. The cornea must remain transparent to refract light properly. The lens of the eye is located directly behind the pupil. The lens bends light coming into the eye to help focus it on the retina. It changes shape to help the eye focus to see objects clearly at near. The lens is suspended from the wall of the eye by many small fibers that attach by its capsule. The iris is the colored part of the eye located between the cornea and lens. The iris's round central opening, which is the pupil, shrinks and widens to control light coming into the eye. This allows you to see well under different lighting conditions. The ciliary body contains smooth muscle fibers called ciliary muscles that help to control the shape of the lens. It changes the shape of the lens when your eyes focus on something. This process is called accommodation. The optic nerve connects each eye to the brain. It is a structure that sends a picture seen by the eye to the brain so that then it can be processed. Okay, so you see an image of the American flag, but obviously it's not the normal American flag. It's turquoise, yellow, and black. And I'll get to the reason why it's those colors later. But first, we're going to understand the process of the eye comprehending this image and how we see the image and process it in our head. So first, light reflects off of this image and passes through the cornea, which is this little clear substance right here, and that is the outermost part of our eye. In the cornea, this light refracts or bends and is then sent in through the pupil to the lens. The lens, for the second time, refracts this light and it goes to the retina. But when the light of this image goes to the back of the retina, the picture is actually upside down. And obviously, we don't want to see things upside down. So the information is then sent through the optic nerve, and then that information is sent to the occipital lobe of the brain, which we talked about in the previous unit. And then the occipital lobe then processes the image and makes it right side up, so we don't see the world upside down. So here we have an image of what rods and cones are. And rods and cones are located in the retina, which is the back part of the eye, which, as you see, the light pass through and hit the back of. So rods are responsible for vision at low light levels, and that helps us see if we're in a very bright place, like a sunny day, we can see obviously very well, but if it's at nighttime with very little light, we can't see as much, and that's the rods are responsible for that. For us to process color, that's when the cones come in. We have 3 different kinds. There's red, blue, and green. The cones are active at higher light levels, and they are capable of color image. So when we get to the rods and the cones, they're called photoreceptors, but we also have these things right here, which are neurons. The first set we have right here are bipolar neurons, and then the other set we have right here are the ganglion neurons. The bipolar neurons have synapses at both ends, and they connect to the photoreceptors and then the ganglion neurons. And then both of these types of neurons together kind of create a form of a path for light. And so when light comes through the eye, through the pupil, through the lens, and hits the photoreceptors, all the information passes through one another and creates action potential. So people commonly wonder, if we only have 3 types of cones, blue, green, and red, then how can we see this whole spectrum of color and all these different colors? Well, if you look at this graph here, you see that the retinal response and the percent maximum is about the same for each one, but the wavelength of the light is different for each one, and you see they kind of overlap each other, and that's when we see the different colors along the whole rainbow. Alright, so now we're back looking at this picture of the yellow, turquoise, and black American flag. And you're probably wondering why I chose to use this picture as my example of how we see light. If you look at the center and try not to blink and stare at it for 30 seconds and then look at a blank wall or a white screen or anything, you're going to see something really cool. So back to that flag. After you stared at that image for 30 plus seconds and then looked at a white screen or a blank wall, you saw that the colors were red, white, and blue like the regular American flag. And the reason why this happens is that our eyes can make after images. And the reason why we can make after images is that our cones sometimes just get tired. And they get tired if they keep receiving the same information over and over again, and they just kind of stop responding. So the blue and the green cones kind of just died out. Not died out, but they just stopped responding. And so that only left with the red one left to fire. So when you stared at the blank image and you saw the red, white, and blue, you were still, your green and your blue cones were still perceiving the colors, but the red cone was the only one that was responding.